Hi, welcome to the Spiritual Connection Show. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I'm the spiritual head of the Transformation Center CT based in Westport, Connecticut. I'm also a coach. I'm an energy healer. I'm a shamanic practitioner. I do a lot of different things. And it's really all in the service of what you need to make the transformation for yourself. So here at the center, we do a lot of individual sessions. We also have group sessions, workshops, classes, a lot of variety. So you can go on our website. I'm going to put up the information so you can check it out for yourself. And it's transformationcenterct.com. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so that's the also the email address if you want to reach us that way, transformationcenterct@gmail, or you can text or call that number on your screen. Because, every month we have different events, and then sometimes we have the same one every month where we have an ongoing series. For example, the Shamanic Clinic is always the second Tuesday of each month in the evening. And that's a time when you can sample what shamanic healing is about. It's a 30-minute little session that you get. And this is a community service where really we're not charging anything. You can make a gratitude donation if you wish, but it just gives you an idea of what's possible in that setting. So we welcome anybody to come, and you just sign up online. Very, very easy to do. Also, every month we have Satsang, which is Sanskrit for in the company of truth. And this we have been doing live and on Zoom. And I think for the fall and winter, for the foreseeable future, we'll continue to do it on Zoom. So therefore, wherever you are in the world, you can attend. And it's generally the either the last Wednesday of the month or the second to last Wednesday evening of the month. So again, all this stuff is on the website. So check it out when you get an opportunity. Yeah, so those of you who've been to the show before, you know that I have a special guest each week that I like to interview and find out what's going on with them, because I love meeting new people and connecting. That's one of my core values is connection. I want you to find out who they are, what they have to offer you. That way you can tune in more with your own spiritual nature, your own spiritual self, and find out, what resonates with you. And they're all available to help you as well as I am. Okay. So I'm really excited. Today, my guest is Caroline Johnson. Welcome to the show, Caroline.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. So I'm just going to read a little bit about you for our audience who doesn't know you yet, and then we'll start our conversation. Okay. So Caroline Johnson is a certified integrative nutrition health coach specializing in women's health and polycystic ovarian syndrome, also known as PCOS. She works with clients one-on-one to create nutrition and lifestyle habits that heal symptoms of hormone imbalance and spark transformation for the long term. So we're both all about transformation.
Yes,
definitely. So Caroline graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And as she worked tirelessly to heal her own body through nutrition and lifestyle habits, her mission to support other women to do the same became clear. And we're going to hear all about that in just a moment. But I'm going to put up her slide so you can see how to contact her through her website, which is called Serenity Health. I love that name. It really sums it up. And Serenity Health HQ is her website, and you can just find it that way. And you can also email her, Caroline@serenityhealthhq.com. And I think, is that your Instagram at the bottom there? Serenity Health HQ on Insta. You can follow her on Instagram. Awesome. So we'll show that again at the end if you didn't get a chance to make a note of it. So Caroline, I always like to ask my guests, the first question is, can you tell us a little bit about your own spiritual journey, how you got to where you are? Really, anything you want to share is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was raised in a pretty traditionally religious household, grew up going to church and kind of participating in organized religion, and I always kind of had the thought of connecting to a higher power, like that was always present. And I always felt a strong pull to things that were sort of outside myself, whether it was helping other people or being a part of a community or just contributing in some positive way. And also creating that sense of calm and kind of groundedness for myself. And as I got older, I kind of shifted more towards mindfulness and meditation and connecting to the universe and less so in a more traditionally organized way. So practices like yoga and meditation and journaling, manifestation. Manifestation has been probably one of the most powerful tools for just in my own life in the last few years. And so as I became a holistic health coach, I knew that I wanted that to be a big aspect of my work with clients, because it is, health is so much more than just what's on your plate, and all of those other aspects of connection and relationships really contribute to your overall sense of health and well-being. So it's definitely a big part of my life and a big part of my work with clients.
Oh, great. So that's why you're training. It's called integrative. Tell me again what it's called. Integrative nutrition.
Yes, exactly. Integrative nutrition. So I'm an integrative nutrition health coach, but it really is a holistic health coach. So it's looking at all of the different aspects of your life, from nutrition to spirituality to relationships, career, all of the different like pieces of the puzzle that make up your overall health and well-being.
Yeah, well, that's perfect because I mean that's what we are. We're whole people. So how can you just address one little part of it? So
Absolutely.
that's awesome that you have that training. And I'm curious. I mean, just listening to you, I kind of get a sense of it. How you came up with the name Serenity Health.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
tell me about that.
that's just kind of, I was thinking about how I want my clients to feel and how I want to feel. And serene and serenity was the first thing that came to my mind. So like really having that sense of groundedness, of peace, and also freedom to live a life that you truly love. That's really how I want to help my clients feel.
Yeah, well, I definitely get that from you. I mean, you kind of exude serenity and peace and also your energy, wanting the best for everybody, your clients included. That really comes through. So I think you're on the right track for sure. I'm also curious. You were talking, obviously you've had a spiritual journey, and that's been an important part of your life, opening you up to all of these things that you're doing. So how do you think that it works now, taking it outside of you and working with clients? What role does that play, the spirituality part of it?
Yeah, it's definitely so kind of at the start of our work together. My work with the client is really identifying sort of the areas of their life that are a little bit out of balance. So if they're feeling sort of ungrounded or a little bit lost or sort of not having a sense of self, spirituality practices are a big part of that. So things like meditation, like journaling, like practicing mindfulness around eating, things like that, to really help them feel just, again, that sense of serenity and that sense of calm. So it is a very big part of my work to help them develop really daily and sort of actionable strategies that help them create that sense of overall serenity in their life.
So are clients kind of surprised that that's a large part of what you do with them? Tell me about that.
Definitely. Most of my clients come to me for support with nutrition and sort of lifestyle practices in general, whether that's exercise or stress management or things like that. But once we kind of go through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition calls the circle of life, which is just, again, all of the different pieces of the puzzle that make up your health and well-being. So once I introduce that concept to my clients, and we work through some of those different areas that are out of balance, they understand that it definitely all plays a part. And it, as you said, we're all whole beings, but at first it is not always the most obvious thing that they're coming for support with.
Yeah, I can kind of picture that too. But once they get into it, I'm sure they realize the value of it and what they're getting out of it, right?
Yeah.
Haven't had anyone like resist it and say, this is not what I came here for or anything like that.
Haven't, no. Thankfully, I think everyone has been all of my clients have been very open and willing to kind of be vulnerable and also just trust the process.
Yeah. So, what are some of the goals, like for example, that you have for your clients, or do you help them set goals? How does that work? Do they come with their own, or yeah?
It's kind of a mix of both, I would say. Most of my clients do come to me with specific things in mind that they want to work on, whether that is a weight loss goal or an increasing energy, or supporting them in their fertility journey, balancing hormones, things like that. But health is not one size fits all. And so I really work with my clients to identify exactly what will work for them and exactly, the daily habits and practices that fit sort of seamlessly into their life. And when it comes to hormone health, it is such an area of women's health that is not talked about very much and not really given the dedicated care and support and attention that it really needs, because we are all different and we are all experiencing our hormone health journey in different ways. And so I really wanted to focus on that because, well, it's something that I struggled with personally and so felt a deep connection to. And then also just to make sure that other women have that same individual and personalized support, because sometimes they don't even know kind of where to start.
So they may not come to you knowing that they need that support, but it kind of just morphs into that as you work with them.
Exactly. Yeah. They might be struggling with different symptoms that they are noticing, whether it's, fatigue or cystic acne or poor gut health or something. And once, we start working together, we can make those connections and see where, what the underlying kind of root cause of some of those symptoms might be. And often they are related to hormone health.
Oh, interesting. I had no idea. So when you said that you had this journey yourself, was that how many years ago, or how old were you? Because you seem so young right now. So I don't know.
So it wasn't too long ago, actually. It was just a few years ago. And I was struggling with, I was struggling with cystic acne. I came off the hormonal birth control pill after many years, and my body kind of just went a little bit haywire, for lack of a better word. It just went a little bit, I didn't feel like myself. I gained a lot of weight really quickly. I was struggling with stress and anxiety and just a lot of different things. And I couldn't pinpoint it for very many months. And it's actually around that time that all of that started to happen. I decided to enroll at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and become a health coach. And so that's how I learned more and more about hormone health and how to help my own body and heal my own body. And that's kind of what led me to wanting to specialize.
Oh, okay. I see. So that was fortuitous timing. But what I believe, I don't know about you, is like there's no accidents in the world, So you were kind of guided towards that, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOS, is that common? I mean, how did you get interested in that?
It is very common. It's actually thought that 1 in 10 women of reproductive age suffer from PCOS, and it's actually the most common endocrine hormone disorder among women. But it is something that, it is not talked about very much at all unless you are struggling with it. And even then, it's really hard to get a diagnosis because it's a syndrome. So it's kind of a collection of different symptoms rather than a specific disease or a specific test that can show that you have PCOS.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I wanted to go into it, because I didn't learn about it until, like I said, I was told that I had it. And so once I started learning about how many other women struggle with it, and, I really wanted to be a part of that community and contribute to supporting, other women through the same journey.
Yeah, yeah. So finding, being part of the solution to that, if not that many people know about it. Do you think that it has anything to do, like, are doctors not trained in that? MDs, do they not know about it?
It, I mean, so an endocrinologist, knows sort of the markers for PCOS, and it's kind of like a Rotterdam system where you have to have 2 out of the 3 sort of decided criteria. So there are definitely doctors that are very aware of this and can diagnose it, but there are not a lot of treatments available. There are not a lot of different ways that women can get support, because usually the first line of defense is going on the hormonal birth control pill, or taking metformin, or taking more kind of serious prescription drugs. And if you don't want to do that route, which it's totally fine if you do, but if you don't, there's not a lot of support in the more conventional medicine space to really help you heal your hormones and bring them back into balance.
Oh, I see. Okay. So then what is it, specifically that you offer support? Like what would you do if I came to you and said, I thought I had this? What would you do to help me?
Yeah, so the first thing we would look at is your nutrition and your diet overall, and really pinpointing what foods may or may not be serving you. There is no one diet that works for everybody with PCOS, but depending on what you're struggling with, depending on what your symptoms are, there are things that we can optimize or add in to really help you feel your best and help you bring your hormones back into balance.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So just through, I mean, not only, but one of the major ways is through nutrition and what you eat. Okay, so this is great to know. I mean, I'm learning a lot here. But I mean, it just goes to show how important what we put in our body, whether it's food or something else, how it can affect us without us even knowing.
Yes, absolutely. It really does.
Yeah. So are there examples of foods that exacerbate it or help it or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. So it is shown that up to 75 or 80% of women with PCOS also have insulin resistance, which just means, in a nutshell, that we're not able to process carbohydrates as well as other people. So we kind of have this buildup of glucose and sugar kind of in our blood, which kind of brings us on a blood sugar roller coaster. So looking at incorporating and prioritizing complex carbohydrates over simple, more refined carbohydrates is probably one of the most common strategies for to help women with PCOS.
Okay, so you help them adjust their diet accordingly and give them ideas about what's going to be good and what's not.
Yeah, exactly. And making really small kind of step-by-step swaps, so that they actually are integrated in their life and last for the long term. So even as simple as, if somebody is eating regular pasta a couple times a week, let's swap in a chickpea pasta one night a week to bring in some more complex carbs.
Wow. So do you find that with this, like a lot of, well, it could be PCOS or anybody that you work with, do you find that weight management is a big part of it?
It is, yeah, definitely, I would say.
So people do tend to gain weight without really being aware of why or how or anything because of the way their hormones are acting?
Exactly. So if you're struggling with PCOS, often you have higher levels of male androgens or testosterone specifically. So that can impact like I said, the insulin resistance factor, which over time can lead to weight gain and kind of uncontrolled, unexplained weight gain.
Mhm.
It often feels like women are trying everything and not changing the way they eat, and all of a sudden they gain all of this weight and they don't know why. So focusing on those small habits to really help with that is a big part of my work.
Mhm. Right. And so, what other factors, besides the nutrition and the food aspect, what other factors do you work on?
Yeah, definitely stress management is a very big one, so that kind of ties into the mindfulness and meditation and yoga. Stress is probably one of the most important factors that impact our health, as you know. And so figuring out ways to incorporate stress management practices every single day is a big part of my work with clients as well, because when we're stressed, our hormones are very impacted.
Yeah. How about, yeah, that's great. I agree. Stress is such an insidious factor. I think it impacts us in just about every way. And, I always ask people, like, the first thing is, how's your stress level? Like that's always the first line of something to look at, I think.
Yes, me too, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So what about exercise and movement, things like that?
Yep, absolutely. Incorporating like a daily movement, whatever that looks like for you, is really important. And understanding that you have to do something that you actually enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. And it's also not going to bring those same benefits. If you're suffering through a workout that you hate, your stress is through the roof, and you're not going to reap those same sort of endorphins, those same kind of reducing stress throughout the rest of your day if it's not something you
Mhm,
truly like.
Yeah, yeah, that kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, women with PCOS specifically have higher levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And so it's kind of shown that sometimes more low impact movement like daily walks or strength training, yoga, that more low impact movement is really beneficial.
Yeah, that's great. So, what about people who seem to have some type of an emotional or psychological or energetic, some type of a block around food itself? Like, how does that impact what you do?
Mm, that's a great question. I do work with a lot of clients who are struggling with disordered eating, whether that is binge eating or just not really having a healthy relationship with food. So, one of the first things that we do is look at our mindfulness around food. So, really understanding when we're hungry and when we're full, and really tuning into those cues is really important to develop that more kind of calm and acceptance around food. So, mindful eating is a big strategy that I work with.
hmm Yeah, because I know, it's so easy to use food as, oh gosh, you name it, using food to make you, when you're stressed, you do stress eating. When you're not feeling good, you want food to pep you up. There's all sorts of, um, what did you call it? Not having a good relationship with food.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. And it's kind of a domino effect, because then it's like if you don't have a great relationship with food and then you're fueling your body with things that maybe don't serve you physically and emotionally, it's kind of a domino effect.
Yeah. So do you think it's possible to develop like a kind of a spiritual connection to food?
I think so. I think, um, when you sit down to eat, kind of thinking to yourself or asking yourself things like, am I really hungry? Or does this food serve me physically and emotionally? And like noticing the experience of eating and food in general, the texture, the smell, all of those things, and kind of checking in with yourself throughout your meal or whatever it is that you're eating. You kind of develop that connection to your food, and it's not just something that you're, you know, eating really quickly on autopilot in front of a screen or something like that.
Yeah. So developing a way to enjoy it in a way that's nurturing or.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's something that we seldom think about. I mean, I personally enjoy lots of different types of food, but I never think about it in terms of, the big picture, I guess, really.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely very common for people to eat sort of without thinking about it. Even from just looking at the clock and saying, "Oh, it's lunchtime. I guess I'll go eat," rather than thinking about, "Oh, am I really hungry?" and then kind of going from there.
Right, right. And I think we train our bodies to be hungry at certain times.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, if you're eating things like you were talking about earlier, simple carbohydrates, sugar, then doesn't that form, I don't know if the word is addiction, but it seems like it is.
Totally. It definitely kind of promotes those really intense cravings for those foods. So having that is definitely sort of a cycle.
So do you need to go cold turkey, or how do you handle that if you want to just kind of really cut out sugar, for example?
I approach nutrition really from a place of what can we add in? So, what healthy food, what healthy behaviors can we actually add in to promote more positive outcomes? So, over time, as I kind of mentioned before, kind of those step by step, really small
Mm,
nutrition changes, because then from there, the others, food or behaviors that don't serve you as well will kind of naturally crowd out. And I think it's also really important to find a way to enjoy the fun foods and enjoy the foods you love because, you know, as you said before, food is so much more than just, fuel for our bodies. It's social connection, it's a spiritual experience sometimes. It's definitely a lot more than just the nutritional value. So figuring out how to have everything in balance is really important.
yeah. Well, it sounds like balance and serenity is such a big part of what you do. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, I'm just going to show your slide again so people can know how to contact you for any questions. I'm sure you'll be happy, to answer any questions they have anytime. And also, is there anything else before we sign off, Caroline, that you would like to share with
I
our audience?
Yeah, I would just, if anyone out there that's watching this is struggling with their hormone health or symptoms that are kind of um, symptoms that are not easy to talk about, I would love to connect with you. I, know how that feels, and just having somebody else to support you and kind of be in your corner is really important. So,
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for that. I'm sure people, would appreciate it. And thank you for being on the show. I'm just going to show my little slide one more time for anybody that wants to connect with me at the transformationcenterct.com. There's an email address and there's our phone number, our text number. So reach out if you'd like any free consultation. That would be great. And thanks again, Caroline, for being on the show. It was really, really great to have you.
thank you so much. It was so nice to speak with you.
I'm happy you're here. All right. Take care. I'll see you again soon. Okay. Bye-bye.